Welcome to Pharmative Live. I'm Dr. James Partyka. I'm your host, and this is Pharmative coming to you live from Palm Springs, California. Pharmative is all about people and patients like you, connecting them to healthcare professionals and scientists in order to educate ourselves about medications, about health and fitness, about healthcare. That's Pharmative, and this is Pharmative Live. Today we're going to be talking about dietary supplements to improve your memory loss. And we're going to focus on three: caffeine, Ginkgo Biloba, and Prevagen. And the full article from WebMD is posted on our PNN One Plus Health mobile app. It's our feature article this week, and you can get that magazine online at pridenation.com. Again, Pharmative is all about helping you and yourself to navigate this very complicated healthcare system that we have in America. And by connecting you to healthcare professionals and scientists, we can inform ourselves so that we can make educated decisions with our healthcare professionals. Before we begin, I have to thank our sponsors at Pride Nation Radio. You can get Pride Nation Radio at pnn.fm. And not only is it great music to dance to, it's also great uplifting music to work out to as well. So check it out at pnn.fm. Before we begin, I just want to start off and make a general statement. Memory is complicated. Brain chemistry is complicated, and it relies, your memory, on a number of different factors, from your genetics to how you live, your daily healthy living style, what you consume, fruits and vegetables, whole grains, and even the medications that you're currently taking all contribute to memory loss. We live in a very anxious, rapidly changing work environment, social environment, and sometimes I feel like information overload and I forget quite a few things, especially with some of the technical scientific acronyms and terms that I need to use in my daily practice. So one of the common questions that I've received over the years, and I've been meaning to do a Pharmative Live on this for quite a while, is, can I take something over the counter to improve my memory? Okay, so that's what we're going to try to address today. Now, I also want to caution our viewers out there that if you are experiencing a sudden onset of memory loss, severe memory loss, or persistent memory loss, you really need to have a diagnostic workup with your physician or with an experienced neurologist to make an accurate diagnosis, because there are medications out there that may be able to help the underlying disease cause. And there are many different types of illnesses that are associated with memory loss, and that's really beyond the scope of this 15 to 20 minute forum that we have. And remember, out there, Ray, you can text your messages or comments or questions to me live, or you can send them to me at info@pharmative.com. Also want to shout out to Jimmy out there, Steve and Alan. You're watching Pharmative Live with Dr. James Partyka. I'm a clinical pharmacist and a research scientist and the founder of Pharmative. Okay, so again, it's very important. Severe, persistent memory loss, sudden onset of memory loss, get a diagnostic workup to see if it's severe and sudden. Certainly go to your emergency room or call 911. There are things that could be happening, to you that could be treated, that when receiving treatment urgently will help you treat the underlying cause. But today, when we're referring to about memory loss or improving memory for older people, and I'm going to describe older people. Now, don't shoot my head off here as 50 years old or above. It's just a little bit forgetful so that it interferes with your daily living, daily activities. For example, you go to the grocery store and you forgot the most important item on your list of things to pick up, which was eggs because you're making a new cake, at home. Or you forget your phone, or you can't find your keys, or there's a particular term or word that you're forgetting, and so forth, okay? So that's what I'm talking about when I'm talking about memory loss, and memory loss which is interfering with your daily living activity, okay? And this may be attributed to a number of things. As we age, we naturally lose a little bit of our memory. So we naturally do get a little bit more forgetful. That's just part of growing older. And I like to think getting older and wiser and staying healthy is the best thing in life, okay? Staying healthy. So that's number one. Stress is also number one. So try to get some downtime, some rest and relaxation. Meditation is very helpful in reducing stress. And again, try to have that downtime so you can minimize information overload, which makes me forgetful all the time. So it's a crazy world we live in with all the technology and all the passwords and codes we're supposed to remember. So I have my ways of reminding myself either through my phone as a reminder or through the notepad function on my phone to remind me, oh, that's the term you use to describe this. Okay, we all use those kinds of things, our to-do lists and stuff like that, to remind us, right? That's normal part of daily living. But at a certain age, you may think that you may need something over the counter, a dietary supplement that might help improve your memory. And that's what we're talking about today. I just want to also ask and remind you all, look at your diet and what you're consuming. Number one, if you're drinking too much alcohol, that obviously causes memory loss. So you might want to cut back on the alcohol. Certain types of medications are associated with impairing memory, such as the benzodiazepines, commonly known as Xanax, Ativan, and Valium, which are commonly prescribed. Again, you might want to try to cut back that dose, or again, take your dosage at the appropriate time when you're not relying on driving a car or your memory to do certain activities. Barbiturates, opioids, CNS depressants in general, if you look them up online, cause memory loss medications. And one common medication sold over the counter, which you might not think about, are antihistamines. So antihistamines can cause memory impairment. So if you're taking it, say, for seasonal allergies, perhaps take your antihistamine at night instead of taking it during the daytime. That's what I do. And so, again, look at what you're consuming, your diet, your alcohol consumption, your medication list, and look to see if there's something on there that you can either reduce the dosage, improve upon, or change the schedule on time, again, which could be great, which can be very helpful in improving your memory. Again, you always want an accurate diagnosis. You want to make sure that your physician and specialists are not missing something, and if you are diagnosed with something, you want to treat that illness. Okay, the other thing that can help with memory loss is sleep. It's recommended for you to get 7 to 8 hours of sleep. Now, I realize there are some people that can function quite well on less than 7 to 8 hours. But on average, most people need 7 to 8 hours of sleep. So make sure you're getting your sleep. Okay, so let's talk about dietary supplements available over the counter at your pharmacy or available at your local store. Okay? Oftentimes they will have claims like improve memory, sharpen focus. Now, I want to remind you that dietary supplements are not under the same kind of very tight regulations that prescription medications and over-the-counter medications are by the FDA. When you purchase a prescription medication or medication over the counter, the manufacturers of that drug have to prove that the drug is safe and efficacious for your use for a specific indication. Okay? For dietary supplements, they don't have to really prove efficacious. Okay? However, they are not allowed to make false claims on their packaging, like improve memory, if they haven't done clinical studies with patients to demonstrate that indeed taking this supplement improves my memory. Okay? So they, generally speaking, dietary supplements are generally natural, found in our diets, herbs, and so forth. And generally, anything that's not safe is pulled right off the market. But other medicines, natural herbs, spices, and so forth, may be on the market, are safe, but they lack a lot of efficacy data. So just keep that in mind, you know, when you're purchasing any of these these supplements. And the supplements on whole can be very expensive. Okay, and so if you start taking a supplement because you read somewhere that this particular herb or supplement will decrease inflammation, the question is, does it really decrease inflammation for you? Because once you start a supplement, you might be taking it the rest of your life, and even though it doesn't have any side effects, it can be extremely costly, especially if you add up the number of years you're taking a supplement. Okay. We're going to start off with the first of the three, caffeine. Caffeine is one of my favorite things, okay? I enjoy my 2 or 3 cups of coffee in the morning, and it's considered to be safe. You can consume caffeine not only in over-the-counter supplements, right? You can also obtain caffeine from a number of different foods and drinks like tea and so forth. And it seems to be a very nice CNS stimulant for your brain, and it promotes energy by blocking a receptor from a chemical called adenosine, okay? And it kind of alerts you, wakes you up a little bit, and gives you a little bit of energy. And as long as you're not feeling jittery, right? As long as your blood pressure isn't going up, that means that and it's not affecting your sleep, right? Because there's some people that can tolerate much higher levels of caffeine. They clear the caffeine much more quickly than other people from their bodies. And they can drink caffeine, coffee, and tea all day long and not have a problem with insomnia. I myself need to sort of cut myself off around 12 noon. Otherwise, I do find it affecting my sleep. So, as long as you're not experiencing side effects from the caffeine, 2 or 3 cups in the morning, early afternoon, great for increasing your alertness, increasing your energy level, and improving your memory. Okay, so caffeine, I put that on the plus sign for me. Okay, caffeine is great in coffee, but not too much. Okay, and you know you're getting too much if you get jittery, or if your blood pressure increases, or if you're having difficulties in falling asleep. Number 2 on the list, Ginkgo Biloba. It's been around forever, and it's a traditional staple in Chinese medicine. But I have to tell you, modern research has shown that this supplement probably does not improve your memory. And in fact, they did a really large Ginkgo evaluation method study of over 3,000 older patients, and they found out that it really didn't have an effect on memory or slowing down dementia. So it was a negative study. So the efficacy data is lacking. So I do not recommend you using Ginkgo Biloba. However, I'm going to show you something you can do at the end to see if it works for you. Okay. The last on my list is a drug that's you see commonly advertised both on TV, radio, and in print and online, and that's Prevagen. Prevagen on its packaging makes the claim it improves memory. The cost of Prevagen is $40 to $60 per month for a 30-day supply. That's a lot of money. Add it up. How much you'd be spending, almost like, say if it's $50, you'd be spending about $600 a year on Prevagen, okay? Now, its claim to fame is that it's a protein extracted from jellyfish. The protein is called apoquarin, okay? However, they don't use jellyfish to make Prevagen. They make the synthetic protein, okay? And then as you age, again, this is the story, this is not the clinical data or the scientific data or the basic animal data. This is just the story that they tell. Is you naturally lose this protein, which causes you to lose your sharp memory. And that by replacing the protein with Prevagen, you'll improve your memory, okay? The problem with the story is when you consume any protein, it breaks down in your stomach by acid and your intestinal lining into amino acids. So that synthetic protein never reaches your brain, right? So maybe you just need a little bit more protein in your diet. Have a hamburger or a piece of steak, or chicken or turkey. But this synthetic protein, apoquarin, would be breaking down in your stomach, would never even reach your brain. So the story doesn't really make any sense. And in fact, the Prevagen manufacturers are under a potential lawsuit for false claims about their product of Prevagen, okay? So they didn't conduct any large randomized controlled trials, which is considered to be the state-of-art level 1 evidence. When you randomize someone to either placebo versus, in this case, Prevagen, and you look to see if it improves your memory, they never conducted such a study. They did do one study, and you'll see it in some of their commercials, and you'll see this graph, but they never show what's the axis. So you don't know if that's over a month, over a year, over 3 years, 5 years, and you really don't know what the y-axis is as well. How did they measure memory improvement and so forth? There was a slight improvement for the people that took Prevagen, but it was not statistically significant or clinically meaningful. And based upon the science, you wouldn't think it would be. In fact, it's probably a placebo effect. So just to remind people what the placebo effect is just if I say you take this pill, it's gonna improve your memory, just by me saying that to you and by you taking the pill, you're gonna think your memory improved. When in fact, there's no active ingredient in the pill I gave you. It's just a sugar pill, say, for example. That's what's referred to as the placebo effect. So again, I think ultimately, Prevagen makes false claims. It's very expensive. There are side effects associated with it, and there's no data to support you from using Prevagen. So I'm gonna give this thumbs down, no Prevagen. Okay. Now, I know what you're thinking out there. There are some people that have been taking these medicines over the counter. I won't even call them medicines, over the counter dietary supplements for a long time, and they're completely convinced that they work. And I'm gonna give you a little exercise that you can test that out for yourself. But before I go into the exercise, I just want to remind you, when we're talking about improving our memory, think of healthy diet, fruits, vegetables, whole grains, get 7 to 8 hours of sleep, reduce your stress, get regular exercise because brain flow is very important for memory. So if you get your heart pumping by doing a power walk or a jog or biking or something fun like that, okay, that's a great way to improve your memory. Get the blood circulating. It's good for you. It's good for your heart as well. Okay, and remember, look at the medications you're already taking, because some of those could be impairing your memory, and oftentimes people overlook antihistamines, okay? And look at your alcohol consumption. Maybe you don't need 2 martinis, maybe just 1, maybe Friday and Saturday, and maybe not every day, okay? So drinking too much alcohol really impairs your memory. I think we all know that, right? All right, so here's the exercise. You don't believe Dr. James about Prevagen or Ginkgo Biloba because you swear by it, right? So if you're already on it, all right, what I would suggest for 2 weeks is just keep a score on a daily basis of how many times you forget something important in your life. For example, I forgot to pick up eggs at the grocery store. That's 1 point. I forgot my phone and I'm already in the car and I have to turn back the car to get my phone. That's another point. So that would be 2 points for the day if that's all you forgot about. I'm not so concerned about forgetting a term or a word or an acronym because we are so information overloaded. Let's just focus on forgetting an item, forgetting a task. And consider that a point a day. And then you add up your number of points for the day. For example, this would be 2. And you do it for 14 days in a row while you're taking your supplement. Now, come off your supplement. It's not a life-threatening supplement. I mean, it's only for potentially memory improvement. Wait 2 weeks, and then that's the washout period. Let the dietary supplement clear from your system, and then for another 2 weeks, do the same exercise. And add up for 14 days in a row the number of tasks that you forgot about. Your phone, your keys, where did I place this? I didn't get this at the store. I forgot to stop for this. And at the end of it, and then for the entire 2-week period, you're going to get the daily average of your memory loss by this simple exercise. It's not a formal experiment, it's just an exercise. And you're going to compare that of the period during the dietary supplement to the period where you're beyond the washout period and look at the scores. If the scores are the same, it means that the dietary supplement doesn't work. Okay? Hey there, Jim out there. We are talking about dietary supplements for improving memory. And we just reviewed data about caffeine. Caffeine can improve your memory, can increase your alertness. Ginkgo Biloba data is negative. So Ginkgo Biloba is a no. And Prevagen is a no as well, as Prevagen is very expensive. But do this exercise just, again, while you're on the supplement. Now, if you're not on a supplement, for 2 weeks, do the same thing. Count the number of things you forgot, the number of tasks, not necessarily words, but tasks. I forgot my phone. I forgot to pick up eggs at the grocery store. Stuff like that. Get your daily score. Average it over 14 days, right? Then go on your supplement for 2 weeks. Then for the last 2 weeks of your supplement, do the same exercise, compare it to when you weren't taking the supplement. And my guess is you're not going to see much of a difference. And if you've got a statistician or mathematician in your household, have them do a 95% confidence interval around those 2 mean estimates. You could also do a median and see if the confidence intervals overlap. And if the confidence intervals overlap, the dietary supplement doesn't make any difference on your memory. So again, I just think it's very important that we all know what we're purchasing, what's in what we're purchasing, why we're purchasing it, and does it work, and is it safe? And as far as for improving memory, the best thing you can do is go see your doctor, because early onset of dementia can be treated, can delay significant impairment down the road, okay? Or there could be something else going on with your body that needs attention, all right? So certainly a diagnostic workup for severe memory loss, sudden onset persistent memory loss. And then the next part of all of this was to look at your diet, look at your alcohol consumption, look at what drugs you're consuming, okay? And try and modify that to improve your memory. Bottom line, Ginkgo Biloba and Prevagen just don't make the cut to improving your memory. So don't waste your money. That's my recommendation as a clinical pharmacist. And I'll see you next week on Pharmative Live. And then in the meantime, stay healthy, as it's easier to prevent human disease than to treat it. I'll see you next week.